1, 2, 3, 4. McCracken and with Brian the Bassturd. You're watching the show. Hang on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4. McCracken and with Brian the Bassturd. You're watching the show.
That's more like it.
All right.
Before we get started at all, guys, I'd just like to say welcome back after just a really long leave of absence. We finally have our third co-host, Jimi Hendrix, back on the show.
Jimmy.
He was in the hospital recovering from
a heroin overdose.
I was going to pick something...
not so topical?
Yeah.
That wouldn't have been as fun.
Whatever. Don't
He's
worry
back
about
from the
it.
dead.
He's back from the dead. He was actually dead. So sometimes you hear people say, like, yeah, I was actually technically dead for, 2 minutes or whatever. Jimmy was technically dead for 34 days. And they were able to bring him back because medical technology is so good now.
Apparently it was 34 days ago. Look how short we look.
No, he was dead for 34 days, and then he was... Yeah, this is weird. We're off the couch. We're back over here, and we're adjusting for it. You're cutting off my giant hat. That's probably good. That looks good. I like that.
All right. Hey, everybody. All right. So we got a really good show for you tonight.
We got a really good show. Today's show is all about outer space.
Look at that cherub.
Oh, this cherub.
It's got a penis.
Not only about outer space, but widely about outer space, and
mostly about
outer space because outer space got really popular right at the time that I started watching a lot of how the universe works.
I'm gonna have to catch up on that.
It's really good.
Yeah.
The announcer, like the what do you call it? Narrator is a pain in the ass.
Oh really?
But aside from that,
are you like talk more about this? And he's like, well, no way, man. I'm gonna talk about what I want to talk about.
He just thinks he's so cool, but whatever. That's not the point. It's still a good show. So
anyway, we got a really good show for you tonight. We got a lot of regular news. We got some Minecraft news. We're going to talk about Facebook. Then we're going to talk about space in our new segment called Brian and Sam Go to Space.
I almost want to jump into this Facebook thing.
Hang on,
right off the bat.
It's first.
Okay,
it is for you're looking at the schedule.
Okay, I was, but whatever.
Hang on a second. And then we're talking. We got some Tangs for you for tonight. Mark Tang's going to be on a little bit later, talking about things that make your brain hurt. And then we're going to talk about some other stuff: My Little Pony and space butts.
Yep.
And Daria porn.
No, that has nothing to do with anything.
We're not going to talk. I don't want to talk about that anyway.
But it really happened.
It didn't.
It actually didn't, which was the surprising thing. But let's start.
Where's it go? Facebook.
Facebook. Now I just found out about this tonight, but I actually found out about it while I was walking home with some dude complaining on the phone to his girlfriend or maybe roommate, but I don't know who would talk to their roommate like that except for me and Sam.
Blah blah blah.
But yeah, he was complaining about something. I gotta go home and look up on this Facebook thing. I was like, well, that sucks for you if your Facebook isn't working. And then I got home.
Idiot.
And then you were like, there's this Facebook terms of use thing, and if you post this long diatribe, then your shit's protected. But, Sam, apparently you looked into it, and if you've been affected by this, you need not worry, because you tell the real story, because that's just my shitty side of it that I don't understand.
Facebook, everybody uses it, and it's famous for kind of subversively screwing people's IP, what do you call it, IP property, internet property, intellectual property. Kind of stealing that from their profiles and using it in advertisements or for promoting Facebook and things like that. And it's becoming more and more prevalent, and people are becoming more and more aware of it, just because people are actually starting to read that not that long terms and conditions page. The Facebook changed a bunch of their stuff back in June or July or something like that. And this at that time, this long diatribe started to go around Facebook. You know, when one person posts things on Facebook that people think are funny, everybody starts sharing it, and things get shared all over Facebook. That's the point. So people started posting these really long things, basically chain mail, but they were chain statuses. It's like chain smoking, but with your feelings. It's just like,
Yeah.
I'm sad. If you're also sad, post this a million times. Anyway, so this big long paragraph started to go around that basically says, hey, I'm posting this status update, and I am claiming all of the things I post on Facebook, being photos or videos or music or links or images of my face or butts or anything, to be my own property, and Facebook has no right to use it. This does absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I think the understanding was that you needed to do this to protect yourself from the new ones, but it
doesn't do anything.
Not real,
so that
it's a
started
hoax.
going around a lot, and then it kind of faded out because it was like, yeah, whatever. A lot of people don't do it because nobody really cares. I'm going to just assume, and I think it's safe to assume, that the majority of people that use Facebook and have their profiles set as public instead of private or just to friends use it intentionally with the knowledge that anybody can look at their stuff. Or don't care, or don't know and don't want to know.
If you want your shit protected, don't put it on Facebook.
Yeah, but, that's not
I know
true.
none of my real information's up there, not my home, or my birthday's a couple days off, and I lie
Who
all
would
the
be
time.
able to take advantage of your birthday?
It's just not good to have that information out there. Just
Why?
because people can triangulate your shit, you know?
That doesn't even make any sense.
Don't worry about it. I just don't do it. It's a policy.
Is that a conspiracy thing, Brian?
Yeah.
Okay. So that thing went around in July or whatever, and now it's back because Facebook has proposed a new terms and conditions change. And I read through the terms and conditions. The new one, I compared the old one to the new one about an hour ago.
Sam's doing the research for you guys.
And
Give
they're
him
not
the
that
facts.
different. Every time Facebook makes an update or a change to their terms and conditions, people are like, well, they're trying to take away all our rights. Which, first of all, let's just say you're using a service provided to you over the internet. You have no rights.
And it's free.
It's free. You have no rights anyway. It's like eating a burger at I don't even know. You don't have any rights. They're providing
people
a service
saying that are exactly like the guys who sue McDonald's for making them fat.
Yeah.
Identical.
It's like complaining that you didn't have enough time on the moon bounce when everybody gets the same amount of time. It's like, you don't get to make the fucking rules, okay? Everybody's got to have fun on the moon bounce. Anyway. I love moon bounces. Anyway, so a new terms and conditions, basically all that has changed since the old one is, which is kind of interesting, but for a different reason. Really the only thing that's changed is people are, they're trying to push more and more for people to start using the pages function of Facebook as a place for self-promotion or advertisement or, contests and things like that. Just self-promotion.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a very interesting thing because it used to be don't use your personal profile for that, only use pages. And now it just says use pages. It doesn't say don't use your personal profile. But anyway, it's just interesting because it's like they're almost like opening it up to more and more commercial use of Facebook rather than personal sharing and social networking. Really, honestly, it's becoming less social networking and more like and already we know that any website can have a page. I mean, that's one of the most famous scams on Facebook is just for example, this isn't true, but McDonald's would post a picture of a cute kitten and said, if you like this kitten. And when you click that, you're actually liking McDonald's and not the kitten picture. And then lots of people like that, and because of that, McDonald's skyrockets, their likes skyrocket, and various things happen because of that. I can't remember what. But anyway, so these new terms and conditions are out, and they don't really mean anything. But people are freaking out about it and posting these big, long things on their...
And they're meaningless.
They're absolutely meaningless. In order for that sort of thing to work, they would have to actually say somewhere in the terms and conditions, if you post this to your page, it will work. But that was just something that somebody made up and said, "Hey, Facebook, I am making a legal contract on Facebook," but it's not a legal contract, man. I'm sorry.
My father, he's crazy, but he says some interesting things, and he seems to think that there is actually a class action lawsuit somewhere down the line of Facebook where it's going to basically turn into something like, the utilities can't go unregulated. They're private companies, like NSTAR and National Grid and all these things. They're private companies, but they're so tightly regulated. It's because you can't just have, this quarter we're going to charge more for water just because we want our profits to go up. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And my dad is like, somewhere down the line there's going to be it's going to be not a provided service anymore. It's going to be like a piece of infrastructure, and there's going to be a class action lawsuit to basically like deprivatize it. Obviously, it'll still be a company, but to impose a lot of regulation to it.
Well, you know what?
But that hasn't happened yet.
That actually raises another interesting point, because one of the big things that is changing in this
fucking chair is falling apart.
Sorry, keep
going.
What is, you gotta aim it in the hole.
I got it,
and then shove it in. One of the new things that is changing with these terms and conditions is it's actually, when they propose a revision to their terms and conditions, it's part of a larger revision of their governance of Facebook rules, basically. So it's not just the user terms and conditions; it's how all of Facebook is run. And implemented in June or July, and has been going this whole time, was the ability for users, any Facebook user, to actually vote on, vote yay or nay as not an actual vote, not to vote for the rules of Facebook, but as a comment.
To get a consensus.
To get a consensus. Thank you. On changes to the Facebook website. And, of course, nobody's using this because Facebook doesn't tell anybody about it.
Yeah.
People don't actually care. The majority of Facebook users don't even care. And that's one of the things that's going away. So this just... Oh, see, mine's falling apart, too. This just raises more interesting points as to, even Facebook tried at one point to be slightly democratic in some way, even though it isn't actually democratic. They tried to, a little bit give the users
They tried to
more...
pretend to be, at least.
Well, they tried to pretend to be. And now, so users can comment on changes that... They have 7 days to comment on the changes that are going to happen.
Anyway, enough of that. Don't believe the hype. Whatever.
Use if you want to keep your stuff private, just mark your stuff as private. That's all you have to do, and then Facebook can't use it.
Don't put it on Facebook.
Then Facebook can't use it if you mark it as private.
I think we're gonna start our own. Social network site too, only for McCracken at Midnight. You can't get on unless you're a McCracken at Midnight fan.
Yeah,
and there'll be all 20 of you on there.
All 23. Yeah. How many? Wait, 23, 24 people.
Yeah, well, I don't know where you're getting that number from.
Underneath the video.
Oh.
Aubrey and 23 other people like McCracken at Midnight.
Oh, cool, sweet. Anyway, now on to the interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Ladies who fuck skeletons.
Yeah, so there was a lady in Sweden who... Hang on just 1 second. There was a lady in Sweden who was arrested specifically for...
let's see that
disturbing. I'm going to show
image there.
Disturbing the peace of the dead was what she was arrested for, and basically she was arrested for using bones as sex toys. This is a 37-year-old woman living.
Bones.
Yeah, actual human bones. 37-year-old woman. They went into her house and found bones in her living room. Let me just pull up the images for you. So here is the image of her living room. I'm assuming this is after they kind of, tore apart her room or something. And that's the skeleton that they found. And then there's some more skeleton pictures down here that are much better. There's one of her actually licking a human skull. That's an actual picture of her, apparently. And here's another one of her loving that skull. So you can see that skull is a real human skull with various, topical skull
and if we
blood
look
on it.
at the shape of his mouth here, you see that? He's not happy about it.
No, it's a frowny face.
Yeah.
See, I wish I could draw.
But now,
a
is that
face.
not an entirely clean skull? Is that what I'm to understand?
Yes,
There's
that
still...
is not an entirely clean skull. That is a poorly clean skull. It is not a bleached skull. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
It's not a bleached skull.
Well, so did she do any work on it herself?
I'm assuming she did, but she's licking it, so I don't know how much she did, and I'm just gonna assume that she didn't. Because
it looks pretty good if you
licking blood off.
If you just got a head. It would be a lot to clean it up
it's
that
like
well.
attached. Yeah, no, but
so she must. I imagine that's pretty much how she found it.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's pretty cool. So this lady likes to. That's fine. This lady likes to have sex with skeletons for fun.
Now,
not for work, just for fun.
The thing is, I would let her have sex with my skeleton if I was dead. I'm not interested in that. But the question, people say, well, you should be able to, decide what happens to you. And that's really the question is, do you have rights over your own corpse after you're dead?
No, your next of kin does.
Your next of kin does. Okay, there you go. Whatever. Next, Minecon.
Minecon!
Minecon Paris just got over.
Was it in Paris?
Was it? There was one in Paris, and then
I don't even know where it was.
Nevada.
I don't know where it was.
Whatever.
Nevada.
Minecon. Yeah.
Yeah.
There were like a bunch of Minecons going on at once. Actually, there was one in Paris.
No.
What the fuck? What
There's
happened?
one Minecon.
Well, then it was in Paris.
Okay.
Whatever.
Are you gonna keep?
No, you keep going.
Okay.
It's your turn.
Yeah, Minecon happened. Not a lot of news out of that, but interesting stuff that is interesting not just to people that like Minecraft. First of all, for those two of you,
And one of them's me, I think.
yeah, one person is watching this, probably Care, who should be asleep right now. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, Minecraft programmers, they sent out to a bunch of programmers somewhere. Basically, there are small computers that you can get that Brian has talked about Arduinos before on the show. Basically, small computers that you can run, scripts or a light operating system off of.
Imagine a computer as complicated as a calculator, but doesn't just do numbers. It can perform similarly simple functions, but all kinds of functions.
Yeah. But at its core, it's a computer, and it can do simple processes. And there's another type called a Raspberry Pi. That's P-I, Raspberry Pi, and it's basically, it literally is a small. It's like that big. It's about the size of a credit card. It's a small computer. It's got an HDMI port. It's got a USB port. It's got audio in and out jacks. It's got some, I don't know. It's got some other stuff. It's got 256 megabytes of RAM, and it's got a slot for an SD card, which would be your hard drive, which you would put a Linux shell on and then run that off of it. Basically, they've ported Minecraft onto the Raspberry Pi. So what this means...
First of all, that's how simple Minecraft is.
Yeah.
Which just cracks me up that you could basically run it off a graphing calculator.
Yeah. It's very cool. So this has a lot more. This has a lot more potential for actual programmers, because basically this new ported version is a version of the Minecraft mobile for iOS and Android, which is not bad at all. But it'll allow programmers to, all you do is you have it on your SD card. It's running Linux on your little Raspberry Pi. You plug a cord into your TV. You plug a keyboard and a mouse into the Raspberry Pi, and you're running a computer just off your TV. That simply. And this will allow programmers to go in and script and program Minecraft to exactly what they want to do. So mod things simply or change certain things. I don't really know how it works, but like really quickly and then play it. This also holds a lot of potential for people that want to just set up really quick LAN parties. So LAN is, For those of you that don't know what LAN
Local
is.
area network.
Local area network is basically you
little
can,
tiny baby internet. A hive cluster as opposed to a hive mind, for those of you who play Warhammer 40,000.
Which is none of the one of you. Yeah, so LAN party, at LAN parties, you are all playing Age of Empires on the local network. But if you're running Minecraft, a LAN Minecraft server off of your tiny Raspberry Pi, you plug that into your router, and you can just run a LAN Minecraft server anywhere that you go. So you could just plug that into the local network, get on your computer, and play. Which is really cool. So it's like a super easy way to set up a LAN party.
It opens up more possibilities for me for what the hell else you can do off a Raspberry Pi. That's so cool.
It's very, very cool. Raspberry Pi, I'm going to buy one real soon because up until now, I didn't know these things existed. But they're really cool little things. They're tiny little Linux boxes that you can just plug into anything.
Now, I have an Arduino, but it seems like it serves a much different...
Definitely.
Arduino is a controller.
Yeah,
really.
Arduino's you build.
You write a program into it, and it just runs the one program off of it, pretty much.
Yeah.
But this is actually like a wee little computer.
Yes. So it's very, very cool. Lots of potential, both for Minecraft and just for our own amusement. The other news to come out of Minecon was that they hired augmented reality. We had Andrew Trimbley on during our election coverage, and he was talking about augmented reality because for his job, he's working a lot with augmented reality for mobile devices.
For those of you, just to update you on what augmented reality is, it's quite simply you take a smartphone and you aim the camera at something, and you're seeing the real world, but it's had something done to it. So what you're seeing in your screen is just something different. For example, you could be looking through your screen, and everyone who you look at has penises drawn on their foreheads when you look at them through the phone.
Yeah, very cool. So, Minecraft, Mojang sent out, the Minecraft people sent out for these guys to build an augmented reality app for Minecraft users. And it's not exactly what you think, but it's really, really cool. I have a video that I'm going to show you, but basically what it is, it's really small right now. It was just released. It's $2 on your iPhone right now. And right now it's something very simple. It's just, you'll see it in the video. But basically, you build stuff in Minecraft, and then you put it in the app, and then you can place it in the real world. And then look at it through your phone, and that building that you made will just be standing there. And then you can walk away from it, and somebody else can walk up with the app and point their phone at it, and that building will be there. So you can basically just like build a world of Minecraft in the real world, and people are looking at their phones and they see all these Minecraft things. So I'm going to play you this video now that explains it perhaps a little better, and it looks pretty cool. Here we go! I lied, that's the wrong one. It's this one. Very cool.
Now, a cool thing is, all those models that you're seeing are basically the ones that come in the app.
Yeah.
So we actually put that airplane in the living room at the Monkey Palace, and you can actually go inside it. It's very, very
It's actually
cool.
in the living room at our apartment, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So we've been putting that. So if you come to the Monkey Palace now, which wall is it on? It's on the one with the little mail holder.
Yeah.
It's like by the
Next to the
kitchen
kitchen.
door. If you bring your smartphone and get this Minecraft augmented reality app on your phone and come to the Monkey Palace, you can actually
point it at the wall and it'll appear.
And that airplane's there.
Yeah, and what Brian was saying was that Minecraft isn't just Legos. You are building an entire building out of these things. So we discovered this last night when Brian was playing around with my phone, looking through the airplane. You can actually, if you get up close to it, you start going inside it, and you see the entire built inside of the airplane. Because when you're playing Minecraft, you don't just build the outside of things, you build the inside of them too.
Another cool thing about augmented reality, and this isn't always true, but I'd be curious to see if it's true for this app, is the way it works is that, if you look at a space, you say, okay, it kind of triangulates this point here and that point there and that point there, and it identifies the location, and that's how it knows to place the object there. But what that means is that if you find a logo or something, a lot of the time you can augment that logo, and every time the phone sees that, like let's say you did, your Apple logo, both of ours are covered up, and you can't see them on the camera. But, okay, let's say a dollar bill. You could augment a dollar bill, and every time someone looked at a dollar bill on their smartphone,
you could see something.
You'd see that there.
So yeah, and that's exactly what I was thinking. So if you made a cool, neat little image or logo,
like an advertisement from McCracken at midnight.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And now, what's really cool about this is it has so much potential for people that just want to do augmented reality stuff, but don't know how to write their own augmented reality programs.
Yeah.
So now we could go into Minecraft, build a really big McCracken at midnight sign, put it in this guy, and then whenever anybody uses this app and looks at something,
we have billboards.
Yeah,
now,
we have
basically.
billboards now on your
Free
smartphone.
Billboards all over.
I'm gonna do it on the Prudential, and every time you use the app on the Prudential building, it'll say McCracken at midnight instead of Prudential. Anyway, so that's all the Minecraft news. Wow, lots of news. Oh man. Okay, so we gotta go faster.
Yeah.
Because we got Tank Spew.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're entering the space portion of the show now.
Brian and Sam go to space! That was good. So... What are you doing?
Nothing. Don't worry about
Okay.
it.
Space news. Lots of space news this week. So Brian and Sam Go to Space is both going to be about space news and just generally about things that we like about space. Because we talk about space a lot on this show. I mean outer space, not like, the space like right here. Not like here.
Not inner space.
Not inner space.
Although there's plenty of that.
There's lots of inner space too. Anyway, so, first on the list. Astronomers have discovered a planet that is nowhere near here. That is so large. It's a planet, and it's so large it defies classification. They cannot classify it as a planet. They don't know what to call it. Are you gonna respond?
No, that's just I'm excited about that. I just want to hear more because I'm wondering if it's I can't. You told me about it already, but I can't remember. If it's a gaseous planet.
This planet, yeah, it's. I mean, obviously, it's a gaseous planet because a solid planet that big would collapse on itself. So it's a gaseous planet. It's 13 times the size of Jupiter, which is really, really, really big. But it's apparently not big enough, or rather, it's not. It's not a star. It hasn't become a star. It's there's brown dwarfs, which is often what people find that are like planets that are failed stars. They're failed stars that didn't have the correct reaction and then didn't, explode into a star, so they become these gross, brown, poopy planets that are bigger than Jupiter, but they're like stars because they're very, fission-y.
Yeah, because I gotta say, 13 times the size of Jupiter must be getting close to the size of the sun.
Not quite.
Not quite? I mean close to, not as big. But that's small star sized.
Yeah, well, I mean, think of the neutron star.
Well, a neutron star is 20 miles across.
That's what I'm saying. So, this giant planet is really, really freaking big, but it's not a brown dwarf. It's not a failed star, but it's really freaking huge. So scientists don't know what to call this planet. It's just a really cool kind of new discovery. It's a whole new type of planet.
Is it in orbit around anything, or is it just kind
of... Yeah, it's in orbit around Kappa Andromedae.
Oh, which is a huge star, right?
Well, it's Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Kappa. It's the fourth. That's 4, right? Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Kappa.
Yeah.
The 4th star in the Andromeda constellation. So.
Oh, I'm thinking of the Andromeda galaxy.
Yeah, you're thinking of the galaxy.
Yeah. Okay, I'm confused.
It's 170 light years away. It sits in orbit 1.8 times further than Neptune's orbit around our sun. And the parent star is only 30 minutes, so it's a relatively young star. So it's just a cool little thing. Lots of new things to think about. In more news, scientists, NASA has announced the longest space mission for an astronaut ever. 2 U.S. astronauts are going to go up to the International Space Station soon in 2015, I think. Yeah, 2015.
For a year.
For an entire year.
That's
and the
crazy.
reason they're going for the entire year is to study the effects of living in space on the human body. So the whole point of this mission is just to see how they feel for an entire year in space. Yeah.
Very cool. Which basically, this is so they can prepare to go to Mars.
Yep.
Essentially.
That's exactly
because it's
what it is.
I've heard a 7-year journey to Mars. They
I thought it
estimate
was
at
14 months.
it's down to 14 months. I remember it was 7 years at one point
I don't know.
because that was.
I'm
but
probably wrong.
They
I just
have
thought it was 14 months.
faster spaceships now, I guess.
Speaking of faster spaceships, there is a dude named Harold White who who talked about this a few months ago, but we're just going to talk about it like it's totally new. There's a theory that was developed in 1994, a device called the Alcubierre drive. Berry drive. Anyway.
Alcubierre.
I don't think it's Alcubierre.
Alcubierre. I'm going to say it's Spanish, and it's Alcubierre.
I think it's... Okay. Anyway, this dude invented this device that this new guy, Harold White, has expanded upon and made better. That is basically plans for a space-time warping spacecraft. That is applying a lot of logic and math and science to the idea of traveling faster than the speed of light. And I read through all this, and some of it's kind of complicated, but it's also very easy to understand. It's basically what is classically a warp drive, in which you're not actually ever moving faster than the speed of light, but instead warping space around you so that you go from point A to point B in nearly an instant.
Yeah, so it's like, if space is like this, it's like this piece of paper. If you're just going, you can't ever go faster than the speed of light, so you have to go,
yeah,
and then go boo, like from there to there, like some basically. So you're not really traveling. Except you are.
I mean, you are, but you're not actually. Yeah, you're not ever going faster than the speed of light. You're almost staying stationary. Is almost the idea. Basically, how it works is there is. Let me see. There's. I don't know exactly how it works, but there would be a device on this ship that makes space. There are lots of little holes and pockets in space-time apparently, and apparently people have ways to detect these things that like exist all around us. Basically, what this ship would do is rapidly expand the pocket of space-time directly behind the ship, pushing it forward. So it would expand space right here behind my head, so that my head would go this way. If there's something behind me, it's going to go forward. Meanwhile, making the space in front of the ship become very small. So it's almost like you're just like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like cool. It's a total.
This picture here makes it make an odd amount of sense. Why don't you show them that?
Yeah, it's a very cerebral idea. It's very hard to kind of understand. But here's a picture of the USS Enterprise NCC-1701-D. In the example of how this works, because it's exactly what they're using on Star Trek. This is a warp field. So you can see here, they're expanding space behind it, they're contracting space in front of it, and around the ship is actually a warp bubble that would protect the ship from the effects of this warping space-time. So what is most important about this? So apparently this idea of being able to warp space-time is not proven to be possible, but is theoretically possible. It's almost like they know they can do it, they just have to figure out how. But what's biggest about this is actually the design of the spaceship. They've improved on the design of the spaceship so that like time and space warps around it in a certain way. It's like an energy ring. So you basically you have to create a massive amount of energy in order to warp space-time, obviously. So before it was like this guy back in 1994, Albuquerque or whatever, was like, yeah, this is how it would happen, but it's clearly impossible because there's no way to generate this much energy. But then this other dude, Harold White,
he was like, if we know where a lightning bolt is going to strike, but that's impossible. But luckily, Marty McFly came back and had the newspaper.
21 gigawatts!
Yeah.
So this Harold White guy has kind of improved on this original idea and changed the shape of the ship so that it can actually produce the amount of energy needed in a much smaller space, while also detecting these space-time things. So what's really cool about this is that Harold White and a couple other people are actually working on this right now. They have devices that they're using to stimulate holes in space-time and read it with this special device they have. So they're actually like actively working on making this happen, which doesn't mean it's going to happen anytime soon. But it's just a really cool thing.
But it does mean that it's totally feasible that space-time collapses and the Earth is sucked into some kind of horrible rip.
But also, it means that we could travel to Alpha Centauri in a matter of months rather than the 4 light years it would take. So that's 4 years traveling at the speed of light, which is, I can't do that off the top of my head. So it's just a really long time. But this is a really cool thing. Harold White was actually talking to this blog I'm reading, IO9, and he was saying, like, I'm not really ready to share more than the theories or the basic lab procedures that I'm working on because it's a really big idea. So this is like a legitimate thing that someone super smart, actual scientist with money is working on.
There is an actual dude building an actual warp drive.
Exactly.
In short.
Yeah. The last bit of...
Somehow it actually gets better than that. Maybe. We're not sure. But for the big news that you've all been hearing about or not hearing about. Or
probably not, because it's not really big news.
But it is, but it isn't. NASA says they have, and is the quote actually earth-shaking?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
News. Earth-shaking, they say news.
Yeah, earth-shaking.
From Mars. Now, they're checking their facts, which is going to take them a few weeks, so they don't want to say what it is, because apparently it fucked up once before and said there was methane, but it came from Earth, they found out.
Yeah. Or something like that.
Yeah, they think. They couldn't reproduce the effects, but they're checking their facts, but they're not giving any hints on what this might be. Of course, everyone's saying aliens. Of course, I'm saying, I don't know, what's a good quip
boobies.
I can come up with? Giant
space boobies.
Boobs. They found golf balls on Mars.
I
don't know, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's either dead or living cells, organic molecules. That's
it could even just be frozen water. Like
it could.
That's
the other big thing, frozen water.
All these would be good things, but we're gonna keep looking out for NASA for their big ass news, their earth-shaking news, and we're gonna see what it is. But NASA's very excited, and just when we're talking about all this. What was it exactly that NASA was holding off on announcing until Obama got reelected?
That they're sending people to the moon?
Yeah. Apparently that wasn't it, because all this space stuff started happening at once. They were just like, NASA was just sitting, just like, like they had to pee until Obama got reelected.
Yeah.
And then they went
just
completely
peed all
crazy,
over themselves.
Which totally makes, I don't know, makes me way happier than I possibly ever could have been about anyone becoming president.
Or
Because
peeing on themselves.
I don't give a fuck about presidents. I
But he
give
loves
lots
peeing on himself.
of fucks about space and peeing on myself.
We're going to bring Mark Tang on now in just a second. In the meantime, while we get set up, here is a video of an anaconda. You know what? You'll just have to watch.
Olha lá. Olha. Olha, tá trocando. Olha, está aqui filmando. Rapaz, não, capivara. Pega, filma aí, Moisés. Calma aí, tá filmando direto. Viado, moleque. Viado, cara, olha. Viado. Calma aí. Vem pra perto, meu filho. Rapaz, eu tô puxando aqui, olha aqui, Stack. Olha aqui a filmagem, Stack. Olha daqui, ó. Pô, pois é, filma ela botando o bicho pra fora. E essa aí só tu pegou, Moisés. Filmando direto aí, olha. Vender pra qualquer televisão. Olha aí a imagem, porque essa ninguém tem. Filma bacana. Filmando, olha aí. Olha aqui na imagem, olha. Moleque, essa ninguém tem essa imagem. Olha aqui, olha a imagem aí, olha. Moleque, essa imagem ninguém tem, velho. Tô te falando, olha. Olha como vai, louco. Manchou no dente. Olha, está, olha aqui como ficou bacana aqui, está. É doido. Essa imagem eu duvido que alguém tenha, barbudo. Quase pegar a minha... Ninguém tem uma imagem dessa, só o Moisés. É o viado, olha, velho. O viado, rapaz. Ei, viado vermelho, moleque. Ele não quer vir ver o José, ele não sabe o que está se passando. Rapaz, agora o pessoal vai endoidar lá que vocês fizeram. Aí só tu tem essa imagem, bota lá na televisão, velhinho. Eu vou esticar. Tu é doido, olha aí. Como tá suspechando, mas aí, tamanho.
Yeah, that was an anaconda regurgitating an entire cow.
He puked up a cow. What the hell? Yeah, like that.
So anyway, here's Mark Tang. He's going to talk about some stuff.
And might I say, you look very cozy tonight.
And buff.
I know, it's cold.
Also strong. Anyway, okay, Mark Tang, what do you hear about?
Yeah, I was watching a show and this is a trippy show, you know?
It's trippy?
Yeah, like augmented reality, warp drives. We live in
the
new
future era. We live in the future age.
Yeah.
It's not a thing.
No, but no, I'm doing all this logic homework, and there's this little thing that I got my textbook that I want to talk about. But
okay.
Like, it was funny because I was watching some of the show before it came down, and I was wondering, like, how do you know this? 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 You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess getting to this quote, I mean, like, I took this right out of the textbook, and it was just like inspirational enough that I wanted to like stick it onto my wall, like one of those inspiration posters with the eagles. But it says here, a set of axioms are chosen statements which we are certain hold of the world or circumstances under consideration. Some of these may be meaning postulates, truths that hold simply in virtue of meaning. Others may express obvious facts that hold in the domain in question. We can be sure that anything that follows from the axioms by valid methods of inference is just as firm a footing as the axioms from which we start. And
I couldn't finish my first semester of philosophy. I'm gonna say that right off the bat.
But I mean, like,
but this is still interesting.
So basically, what this is saying is, I mean, nearly whatever you are thinking and whatever comes out of that is just as valid in thought as the original thought that you thought.
Not really, but I mean, basically, like a lot of what we talk about logic is that what world are you talking about, you know? Like the logic that applies in Minecraft, you know, is very different than our real world, you know?
Yeah.
And like, for example, you know, in our world, I know that if I hold this pen and I dropped it, it's going to fall, you know, and that's, you know, this thing that I could call an axiom, and I can be like, I can be certain that based on my observation, every time I drop this pen, it's going to fall, you know? In Minecraft, you might have like certain limitations, like you have to stick with this grid, you know? Like you're walking within this grid, or like everything's a block, you know? And then what really gets me is then you're starting to get into like this augmented reality thing, you know, where that whole like one world for you is different from the world for me, you know?
Yeah.
But then like, you know, when this augmented reality thing takes off, it starts becoming like, you know, really tailor-fit worlds, you know? Like, as tight as this sweater, you know?
Yeah.
But also then it seems like the way in which we stitch together information also seems more real than the information itself.
Yeah.
You know, like...
Yeah.
So are you saying that the reality of information flow has its own axioms?
Maybe, but it's almost like, you know, that pen dropping. You know, is something that, like, I can only get that from observation. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, that we could be in space and I could drop the pen and it wouldn't drop. You know, there's a different world almost where that doesn't happen. You know, but like, you know, you want to have faith that these like certain rules that allow like premise one to come to like the conclusion, you know, will always hold true no matter what world they're in.
Well, this is you're getting into chaos theory now. You know that it's that the idea that it's not a given, and that just because you observe it, or just even because you're able to prove it through multiple observations or through mathematics or through whatever way you're allegedly proving it, there's no way to be certain about any.
Well, but also
anything. What
the quote is almost saying is that even though there are these separate worlds, it's logical, and you know, this isn't, you know, to bring in the question of the validity of our logic is a whole other like question. Hang on. Whoa, man.
Bless you.
But you know what the quote is saying is that you know, the logic that we
shut the fuck up.
These circumstances that we assume from this one circumstance, these rules we assume from one circumstance, are able to be applied to circumstances that come out of that original circumstance. Yeah. So as reality progresses, so does the logic and our understanding of it, almost by law.
Yeah.
And not as so. You know, what I'm reading out of this is almost that. And of course, this is, you know, one small snippet of what I'm sure is a big thing.
Yeah.
But what I'm reading out of this is almost like
the information pulled from an axiom, the understanding derived from an axiom is more important as something that you can apply to other circumstances than the actual axiom itself.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes and no, because it doesn't have to do with the actual axiom itself, but it's more just like those things are very important. But it's what's interesting is that it's the continuing onto further axioms, continuing onto these further worlds and stuff like that, that these rules continue to be applied. But like, what does that actually mean? Like, you know what I mean? If it almost to bring it, you know, into a reality, real life circumstance, it's like, you know, like going from school to school or like grade to grade or something like that. You assume that these same rules are going to be the same every time. Logically, is that the rules are going to be the same every time. But when they change from 10th grade to 11th grade, it's like, well, now what do I do? So that brings in the question of like, what happens to logic when it's turned upside down? How does that logic become sort of repossessed in your mind and reapplied to the current situation? And because of that, is this quote actually accurate in saying that those laws that you learned here can still be applied here because they are now important here and not important here anymore because this is in the past?
Well, I think like the crux of it is like, what do you count as a valid method of inference? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, you know, it seems like, you know, I mean, like, our backgrounds and all that, we trust, you know, our scientists and that kind of method of peer review and, you know, you trust that it's based on this
You trust the scientific method pretty much.
Yeah,
it seems like a sound system.
Yeah, you trust this system of processing information, you know?
Yeah.
And it almost seems like this system of processing information is more fundamental than the information itself. I mean, you know, if you apply this system of processing information to Minecraft reality, you know what I mean? Then Minecraft physics, like the study of Minecraft physics could be like, you know, go on and on and on, and like you get like, you know, new footholds, so to speak, you know? But it's like the realities could change, but if this kind of method of processing information is sound, then, you know, that there's at least some kind of constant through it all, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like it's the importance of the way it's like the importance of the way the logic is possessed rather than
But then again, I mean, like that's also like possibly flawed, and also like, what does it mean when you start regarding the relational as more true than any concrete statement or observation. You know what I mean? Like you're like, I don't know if A is true, I don't know if B is true, but I can trust that the way A relates to B is true. You know what I mean?
See, all of this, I like the Cylon way a lot better, which is when you're walking down that hall, you're projecting and you're seeing where you want to be. So what is happening in reality isn't as important as how you feel and see the world.
Boom!
I
also
refuted.
What I really know about logic is that logic dictates that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. So basically, what I am trying to say is that me and Sam know everything that we know from TV.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, thanks for being on the show.
That was very good.
We'll have you on again and soon, hopefully with something less complicated.
I actually wish we could spend more time on that. That's really cool. I was just getting warmed up.
So it is time. See you later, Mark Tang.
Bye.
So we have one more video to show you.
We do?
Cool.
Yeah.
Before we cut out. This next video is actually an optical illusion, which is kind of cool. I showed it to Brian, and he was like, whoa, let's show that on the show. And I was like, okay, whatever. So just pay attention. Basically, you got to stare at the purple dot. There's instructions, but then once it changes to the weird thing, just keep staring at that purple dot. Don't look away, and don't blink, because they'll get you. You can't see when they're coming.
I actually blinked, and they got me.
Don't look. Just don't even blink. Timey-wimey. Okay, here is the thing. Hey, that was fun. I hope it worked. I don't know if it did.
Yeah.
We'll probably won't ever do that again. So
we don't have any commenters tonight.
We have one person watching right now, and it's probably Mark Tang, and he's doing homework.
No. He came and went. I saw him. But anyway, we don't have any commenters really, so I'm going to tonight, rather than saying the comments, we're going to do 7 minutes of interpretive sitting dance to express the sense of emptiness. That's all I can do. That's all I got.
Wow.
I came up 2 minutes short, but
that was awesome. That was really something special. Okay, now we're gonna actually sing the comments. The 7-8 comments we have.
Okay.
7 comments we have, Brian. You gotta fill 7 comments. You gotta have 7 comments fill 2 whole minutes.
La 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 It sounds a lot like Lola. La 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 day. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I should never do that again. I could watch you dance forever. I could watch you dance forever. Watch you dance forever. I could watch you. I could watch you dance and sing falsetto forever. Done. It's 1 o'clock. That's it. Show over.
Hooray! Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm so glad that the 7 of you that responded to as yes on Facebook actually ended up not watching our show.
It's
because
cool. I don't
know
care.
you would have
I'm alright
hated
with
it.
this. It's going on YouTube, so everyone can watch it.
It's gonna
and
go
you can watch
on
it later. You are watching it right now, as a matter of fact. It's meta. We're time traveling via the internet.
The internet is a time travel device.
The simple technology that allows us to transcend the bounds of time and even death itself.
Yeah. When we're both dead, which will be never, you're going to be able to watch this, which will be never because we're never going to die.
I mean, you can still watch it, but
I mean,
we might.
you can,
we
but
might,
it'll
we
cost
might be
money.
middle-aged eventually.
It'll cost money to watch it.